third graders.
Hi, third graders. Welcome back.
If you didn't see our last episode,
Yes.
we're taking off our masks because we are socially distanced and we are both vaccinated and we have windows open and fans on and we are filming. And so they said as long as we have keep 6 feet distance and we keep our masks on until we're actually filming, we can remove them during the episode.
Yes.
So we rearranged the set and here we are.
Yeah. Hopefully that means that you feel a better connection to us because you can see our whole faces and you can better understand the words that we're saying.
You can hear us better.
Our masks aren't blocking the words.
Correct.
So that's exciting.
Yes, it is. So before we begin our lesson today, let's check in with our zones.
Sure.
How are you doing today? I don't have the giggles anymore. That's good.
That's good.
I did have them on the last episode.
Yes, you did.
What zone are you in, Miss Oslin?
I am physically and mentally in the green zone. I'm good. I'm focused. And emotionally, I'm in the yellow zone still.
That's okay.
Just kind of anxious and nervous about some things, but I'm still able to focus.
That's good.
How are you?
I'm more in the blue zone in my brain and body now. I'm getting kind of tired. We filmed a lot of episodes today.
Yes.
And my brain is kind of like, that's enough.
Yes.
Enough of that. But we
Yes.
have 2 more to go. We can do it.
We can do hard things.
I'm just tired. So I'll be all right. And my emotions are greeny yellow.
Greeny yellow. Okay.
Still feeling a little anxious,
Yeah.
but trying to not be.
Good.
Yeah. Mr. Kevin, how about you?
Well,
What is on your face?
What did you do?
I'm trying out my new eyebrows. What do you think?
I love the color.
Mr. Kevin. You are my favorite.
Are those Post-its?
So I'm in the green zone, as you might.
I would say you're in the yellow zone.
the
not
yellow
the
zone.
green zone.
Well, and my eyebrows are in the blue zone, so they can't help that.
Is that tape?
It's tape.
That's going to feel real good when you take it off.
It's gonna hurt.
Anything for a
That's our
joke.
consequence, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, Mr. Kevin, you're the best.
Okay, got it. Didn't want you to see that.
That makes my cheeks cramp.
Oh, I know. My cheeks are really sore from my giggles I had earlier, so every time I laugh. Oh. Now, let's do our 3 personal standards.
Today and every day.
We show respect,
make
good
good
decisions, and solve problems. Super important. And one way we show respect is by honoring our indigenous lands and peoples.
Yes, and we talked about the word elders in another lesson
Yes, we
with our
did.
third graders, well, and several other grade levels today, about how our elders are the people who came before us.
That's right.
Why do you think it's important to honor our elders?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, they're the people that set up everything for us to be successful.
Oh.
So we need to make sure that we're showing them respect and honor and thanking them for doing that.
Okay. So I'm thinking about like my elders, my parents and grandparents and great-grandparents, and what they have done to set me up for success. And I'm also thinking about the elders within the indigenous populations, what they have done to set me up for success,
Which is a lot.
which is a lot.
They took care of this area. I've learned already from them about respect for our environment and how to be a critical consumer of that environment and only use the things we need.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to invite you to look outside your window. Look at the sky. Beautiful. Look at the trees and your surroundings. Our physical space stands on the historical and ancestral lands of the Puyallup tribe of Indians. We acknowledge the Puyallup tribe of Indians community, their elders, both past and present, as well as future generations. We make this acknowledgement as part of our work to dismantle the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism and white supremacy.
I like that we hold space for it.
Yes. And I like that as we are moving forward, we're learning together as a community
Yes.
about why it's important to hold that space and how it impacts me as a person thinking about that lens through which I look at things,
Yes.
that I need to honor the elders that came before me by looking at things through their lens, not just my own.
Yes. It's a really important thing to do. And third graders, we know that's a really big ask of third graders, but I also know that third graders are really capable. Sometimes more capable than the adults.
That is true. So we have been learning about how did the environment influence the development of Northwest Native American culture. And we have a lot. We have an observation chart that we're going to look at.
We are. And when we were looking at this, it was hard for me to look at. I'm not going to lie, that it made me really sad. So just be prepared that you may have some feelings in the blue zone or maybe some feelings in the red zone when you see this chart. But it's important that we don't ignore it just because it feels uncomfortable.
Exactly.
It's important that we understand it and then ask, so what now? Just take a look. What do you think this chart is showing? What do you notice? What do you wonder? And I'm curious on Mr. Kevin's perspective because he wasn't part of our conversation.
Looks to me like these are tribal reservations.
They are.
So we learned, as part of our big social studies words, that a reservation is an area of land created by the government specifically for Native American.
Correct. It's where they were put.
Yes.
It's the best way I can describe it.
And this is local.
This is
I mean, this is Washington.
What do you notice? I notice that there's a lot of yellow.
I wonder what the yellow is.
I also notice some green.
I wonder how they drew the boundaries.
So the green areas, the green dots and the green spaces are the reservation lands.
Okay.
So when the settlers came and those treaties happened, this is where the Native American people who had inhabited all of Washington were sent, so that the settlers could have the rest of the land to grow and develop. Which feels very unfair to me.
Yes.
That's not very much space.
No, it's not. I wonder if different tribes who maybe lived in a similar region were then living really closely within a reservation with each other.
Maybe. And I'm curious how they feel about it, because I know what my projection is of how I think they felt, but it's important to know how they felt. And I would be curious to interview some people to learn how their elders felt about this happening. To see if it's similar to what, like, the feelings I'm feeling, or if maybe it felt different to them. I don't know.
It's an important question to ask.
Because it's not really about how I feel. It's about how they felt about it. It was
Right.
their lives that were changed. And so I'm just curious how they feel about it. Mr. Kevin, what are you thinking?
Well, the thing that occurs to me is that before the settlers got here, before Lewis and Clark, the state, our state, was all green. So, you know, the various nations and tribes might have had their own territorial agreements with one another, but it was certainly not restricted to these tiny little patches of land.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mr. Kevin, I only heard about a quarter of what you said because the window's open and there's lawnmower sound in my ear and I couldn't hear everything. But from what I heard, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Should we review our social studies words?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
We have quite a few now.
We do.
We learned that an anthropologist is a scientist who studies humankind. We learned about the Makah tribe.
They're indigenous tribe of Nia Bay in Washington.
Yes. And coast, which is the land next to the ocean or a body of water.
That's correct. Then Spokane, which is a tribe of Indians inhabiting the northeastern Washington. It's also a city in Washington.
It is.
But
Yeah.
as far as what we're studying,
Yes.
it was the tribe of Indians on the plateau.
And plateau would be a high level area of land.
Yep.
And then last time we learned
Reservation.
the word reservation, which is an area of land set aside by the government for Native Americans. And we saw that map that showed us where the reservations in Washington state
Yep.
are and relative to the size of the rest of the state.
That's correct, the rest of the land on the state.
Okay, we're gonna practice our Washington native sound off.
Let's do it. You ready?
Yes.
I don't know, but I've been told
Regions of Washington their tribes did hold,
each tribe lived a different way.
made Washington great to this very day.
Sound off,
Natives
sound off,
of Washington.
sound off.
1, 2, 3, 4.
History. The coastal tribes lived along the shore.
The Pacific Ocean gave food galore.
Salmon, seal, and whale they ate.
Their totem poles were really great.
Sound off,
Natives
sound off,
of Washington.
sound off.
1, 2, 3, 4. History.
The plateau tribes, they had it tough.
The harsh climate made it really rough.
They walked in search of roots and seeds.
After horses, they moved with greater ease.
Sound off,
Natives
sound off,
of Washington.
sound off.
1, 2, 3, 4.
History.
Okay, we learned an input chart about coastal people,
And
plateau people,
then we
compared and contrasted them. And we talked about how on that input chart, we used very broad terms: coastal people, plateau people. And the reason for that was we were talking about the environment and the
Right.
environment of a region in which many different tribes lived.
correct, and the resources that they were able to access because of the environment and the landscape of that particular region.
And then we compared and contrasted the two regions.
Right.
Based on the environment. That's the lens or the thinking, the background thinking that
Right.
we're doing. So today we are going to do what's called expert groups. We're all one group.
Right. It's a little different
it's a
on
little
TV.
different. But what we're going to do is read two different texts. One is specifically about the Makah tribe of the coastal people.
Okay.
And the other one is about the Walla Walla tribe of the plateau people.
I'm excited to learn about some new tribes.
Yes.
Great.
And we're going to create, or you are going to create in your writing notebook, a graphic organizer. And as we read, we're going to stop and jot or sketch notes about what is important within that text.
Like, what are the most important things that stand out?
Yes.
So what we're going to do is Ms. Osmond's going to take us through some slides, and each slide is going to have a number on it. And we are going to number our slides and our pages, and we're going to make little boxes. And in those boxes, we'll stop and jot from that slide.
And not to worry, this text, I put it on a slide much bigger than this.
Yes, this is just to show you what it would look like if you were in your classroom. You would actually have the page to jot your notes down on the page.
Exactly.
But you don't have that. So we're going to show you how to do it in a journal, because guess what? When you take things like the SBA or you're on iReady, you need to also be stopping and jotting, but we don't give you a piece of paper with a graphic organizer on it. So we're going to teach you how to make it yourself.
There you
so
go.
that you can do it no matter what resources you have.
So each text has 5 different paragraphs that we're going to read. So you'll need space for 2 groups of 5 paragraphs.
So I'm thinking I'm probably going to do 3 on one, 2 on another, and then 3 on one, and 2. So probably about 4 pieces of paper.
Okay, perfect. Oh, and I got it wrong. It's not the Makah tribe.
Oh.
It's the Quileute tribe.
Oh, the Quileute. Yep, they're
I
close to the
apologize.
Makah tribes.
Yes,
And I'm
they're-
actually going to do them in different colors.
Okay. So this is the first paragraph. It has a number 1. I
So-
would recommend drawing a number 1.
Putting number 1 on your page, and then about a third of the way down, just make a line on your paper, and then that's all you're going to do right now.
And as you listen, think about what stands out as really important and how can you jot it, which means write it or draw it quickly so that your
Right.
future self can come back and look at this and remember what it was that your present self is telling you is important.
Right, because you're not going to write down the sentences. You're just going to sketch some pictures or make some little notes or draw some diagrams.
Okay. The Quileutes fished and hunted sea mammals such as seals and dolphins. They were known as the best fishermen of seals on the coast. They also fished for salmon and rock cod. They picked berries and ate roots.
Okay. So, stop and jot. Okay, so I just jotted a few of like the key words that I remembered what happened. And I'm already revising my thinking from last time when we were comparing the coastal and the plateau people because we didn't talk about berries and roots because it wasn't on our input chart.
Right.
But it sounds like the thing that's different is both groups of people used berries, roots, and salmon, but the coastal people use seals, dolphins as well, those kinds of mammals. And the mammals that the plateau people used were like bears and deer. Something I'm just changing my thinking on again.
Very good.
Learning as I go.
Okay, second paragraph, second area on your writing. So make sure you write a number 2 so you know where this information came from. The Quileutes used the hair of their special woolly dogs to make blankets. They wove rain-proof skirts and capes from the soft inner bark of the cedar tree. Cone-shaped rain hats provided protection from the rain. They also wove many types of baskets, some so fine and tight they could be used as pots for boiling water or soup. Stop and jot.
Can I see the text again, Mr. Kevin? I'm going to make sure I have all the important parts. So I have the wool blanket, rainproof skirts and capes. Oh, I didn't do the cape. I think I got them all. The baskets for cooking and gathering,
Yeah.
and the
Hats.
rain hats.
There we go. Okay.
You know what I find interesting is the only thing they used animal fur for was the blanket. Everything else was cedar,
Yeah.
which matches our input chart. It didn't say anything about the wool blanket, but pretty much they use cedar for their clothing and protection.
Okay, paragraph number 3. The Quileutes lived in a huge cedar big houses decorated by totem poles. House groups lived together during the winter. Each house had a chief, nobility, and commoners. The house group may have also included a number of slaves, either captured or traded from neighboring tribes.
Wow. Oh, could you put the, actually I can just look at the, it's okay, you can show my notes, that's fine. I'll look at the text on the other
Thing?
screen.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm guessing these big houses were what we were learning were long houses. It had a chief, nobility, commoners. And then I don't want to decorate this totem pole because I don't know the correct way to decorate it. So I'm just going to make a pole and label it a totem pole. And that's not something I do in my culture, so I'm not going to try to make one. But I'll just put the pole there and notate that it would be a totem pole.
Honor the space that it takes.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so I made a big house, and I put that there's a chief and nobility, and I wasn't sure, like, know what noble is, like kings and queens, so it must be some kind of hierarchy system that they have, and then the commoners, and then also slaves. And what's really interesting is I've always thought about Native American people as being very peaceful, and the fact that they captured and traded people has me kind of wondering a few things. Very interesting culture.
Very.
And I'm curious what parts of that culture they've held on to as time has gone on, and what parts of that culture they've let go. Because as we know, when we know better, we do better.
Okay, paragraph number 4. The red cedar canoes made by the Quileutes ranged in size from 2-person sport boats to 58-foot canoes that could carry 3 tons through the ocean. They would travel by canoe as far north as Alaska and as far south as California.
Actually, I'm going to do that differently. Okay, take a look at what I jotted down. So I was going to do this here, and then I changed my mind because it said north to south. So I wanted that to be representative of north. Alaska's in the north and California's to the south. And that they have red cedar canoes ranging from 2 people to 58 people.
It's 58 feet.
Oh, it's 58 feet?
Yeah,
How
they
many
did
people?
change the unit. 2 people.
Oh, and then 58 feet.
And then 58 feet. Yeah, they changed the unit.
Thank you for helping me. I wonder how many people could fit in a 58-foot canoe.
Quite a few.
And I'm going to put number of people, question mark, because I'm going to look that up.
Okay, last paragraph. The first official contact with the white man occurred in 1855 when the Quileutes signed a treaty with the U.S. government. The treaty would have made them move away to a reservation with other tribes, but their land was so remote it wasn't enforced. In 1889, the Quileute Reservation was created after it was clear they wouldn't leave their homeland. Stop and jot.
Okay.
I was curious. I had a couple wonderings. I was curious about, they signed the treaty in 1855.
But didn't move.
And it says it was clear they wouldn't leave their homeland. Then why was the treaty signed?
Yeah, I'm curious.
I need that.
I'm very
story.
curious. So here's my little jot down. The government says you need to move to the reservation, and they said, nope, not moving. On all, it took till 1889. Right? So that's 44 years. And the government says, well, then we'll just build it around you. And they built the reservation around them. So they're still on a reservation. They're still confined to a piece of land that maybe they don't want to necessarily have those constraints. I don't know. I have a lot of questions as well. I was not informed and I did not learn about all of this when I was in school. And I have a lot of questions.
And I noticed during our last lesson, go ahead, Mr. Kevin.
Oh, I was just going to say something about the year 1889. It's significant in Washington history.
Tell us more.
Well, 1889 was the year we became a state.
Oh.
So, what did that have to do with the Quileute tribe?
What did that? Oh, that's...
Or did it have anything to do with it? Was it coincidence?
Very interesting.
And I noticed during our last lesson, we talked about the reservations and we brought up the question, does that mean they were put in a reservation with other tribes, people that they don't know? Yes, in fact, that was
something that they didn't want to happen. How much time do we have, Ms. Haslund?
We have about 15 minutes. I think we should label this so we're sure which tribe it is that we're talking about.
Can you help me spell that, please?
Yeah, Q-U-I-L-E-U-T-E-S.
Here's my wondering. Do we want to stop there as a good stopping point and then do the next tribe later so we can give it the attention it deserves versus trying to speed through it?
Yes, I think that's a great idea.
Teacher move.
Live. So next time we will do the same thing, but we'll be learning about the Walla Walla tribe.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
And then like talking about comparing those two compared to our comparison tribe, I'm just really excited.
So continuing to answer the question, how did the environment influence the development of Northwest Native American culture?
Clearly a lot. I mean, I can already add more to that just from this text.
Yes. How about your inquiry chart? Are there things that you think you knew or you thought you knew?
Well, I have some more answers about the reservations.
Yes.
From some of the questions I had.
Yes.
Like, were there multiple tribes or just one? And about how they used the land. And now I have more questions about the way they structured their community.
Yes.
Very curious.
Very interesting. Okay. Your job is to write about how did the different environments of the coast and plateau regions of Washington impact the different cultures of the Native American tribes that lived here, specifically the Quileute tribe, because we did what we call a deep dive.
Yeah.
Learning about that tribe.
So time to like process that, maybe write a few sentences or paragraphs about what it is you learned and what you found really interesting. Maybe just write what you thought was interesting.
Yeah. Certainly
There were some really interesting things that happened.
Was. Now, we would love to have a conversation with you about what it is that you're learning or wondering about. Mr. Kevin's going to tell you 2 ways that you can send us your thinking.
Oh, that's right. Third graders, you can just hammer out an email to us on your laptop, TV Classroom at tacoma.k12.wa.us. You can always mail us something here to the beautiful downtown Tacoma TV Classroom headquarters at 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.
All right, third graders.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin.
It's time for our affirmation.
I'm feeling really curious.
I am too.
I think that is a really good affirmation for today.
Curious.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'll take a deep breath. Say our affirmation.
I am curious.
Excellent job today, third graders, becoming an expert. We look forward to seeing you back here next time on our TV Classroom.
See you later, friends.
kids. Welcome to Food Fight. Now, I think we can all agree that ice cream is pretty delicious. But if you eat too much ice cream, it's not very healthy for your body. You know what is healthy? Fruit. In this exercise video, we will be working on building our cardiorespiratory endurance, which is our heart and our lungs. We're gonna try to avoid all the ice cream obstacles, and we're gonna try to grab as much fruit as we can. Make it to the end and grab the star fruit. Have fun! Food fight! Let's go! Food fight! Food fight, come on! fight! All right, kids, in the final level, you need to grab as much fresh fruit as you can, dodge the mini ice cream trucks, dodge the ice cream, and make it to the star fruit. Good luck! Food fight! Nice job, everyone.